All right. Can you see my Windows computer? Cool. Uh-huh. So we first want to start by looking at how software gets executed in your computer. It's important you understand the flow as a software engineer. So first, we will start with a very simple example. Assuming you want to edit your resume or your CV on your computer. So number one, you as the user will send the command to your computer. Now, this dotted line here represents your computer. Now, remember we said your computer is made up of the hardware and the software part. The main software, which is responsible for controlling all the hardware components, is your operating system. That is what I've labeled here as OS, which means operating system. So the user, you interact with the operating system, you give instructions to the operating system, and the operating system will be responsible for managing all the hardware. Now, we also said yesterday that a computer is made up of RAM, is made up of internal storage, and is made up of a CPU, which runs or executes your instructions. Now, the hard drive and RAM are all comprised of, not really comprised, but they are all referred to as storage devices. However, RAM is what you call a temporary storage device, and your hard drive is what you call a permanent storage device. So, your instructions will go to the operating system, and the operating system, it will take your resume or your cover letter or your CV. Let me just write CV here to avoid confusion. So the operating system will take your CV and loads it up to memory. Now remember, when your computer is off and you switch it on, you will get access to all the documents you are editing before. An example is your resume or your CV. So your CV rests in the hard drive if you're not touching it. If you're not touching any software, we say it's in the hard drive. But when you want to touch that software or when you want to edit, the operating system will take the resume or your CV and load it to RAM. Now from RAM, it will send instruction. The operating system will send instruction to the processor, and the processor now will take whatever is loaded in RAM and start executing it. So some of the things that the CPU can do, Zypalytics will get to that question later. So some of the instructions the CPU perform is to display text on the screen if you're editing a document. You wait for your keyboard input. If you're typing, it waits for whatever you type. It inserts characters, whatever you type, and it saves the changes that you've typed. So after the computer is done, you've opened your CV, you've typed, and then it sends you the response that, hey, I'm done with this task. This is the same process that happens with pretty much all software. You can think of any software. For example, YouTube right now, whatever you're using to watch, for example, your browser. So when you open your browser, you're telling the operating system, hey, I want to open Chrome or Firefox or Safari or whatever browser you're using. And then the operating system will take the browser files from the hard drive and then it puts them into memory. So the CPU only works with whatever is in memory. It does not work with whatever is in your hard drive. Okay. So this is the general flow of execution of any software you can think of. This happens even on your phone. It happens even on your tablets, on your smartwatches. This is the general flow. So you give instruction to the operating system. The operating system loads whatever data you need from the hard drive to RAM, and then the CPU will use whatever is stored in RAM at that particular time to execute the instructions. I hope that is well understood, the process execution flow. Now, each software has what we call system requirements. Um, each software has what we call system requirements, and system requirements, they are basically RAM. We'll call it hard drive space and CPU. So each software requires these three to work properly. So if I go right now to the browser and I Google something like Microsoft Word system requirements. If I Google system requirements, we are being told that to run Microsoft Word, you need 1.6 gigahertz 2-core processor. Okay, this is just like CPU. Just think of it as CPU. It's confusing, but this is the CPU we need. We need 4 GB of RAM, and we need 4 GB of available disk space. Okay. If we look at any other software, let's say, for example, Chrome browser, which is common. So we'll say system requirements. We can see Chrome browser requires, okay, here it's saying macOS, but if we just read through, we can see we have here the processor that is required. We have the 4 GB of RAM that is required. Storage, I think they've not mentioned storage here. If we expand here, we can see the storage. Okay, they've not mentioned the storage, and so forth, and so on and so forth. If, for example, you're doing architecture and you're using computer-aided design software, for example, AutoCAD, so we can check the system requirements for AutoCAD. So you can say AutoCAD system requirements, and we can see AutoCAD requires 3 gigahertz CPU. It requires 16 GB of RAM. That is quite heavy, and it requires storage space. There's no storage space here. Memory, disk card, 2 GB GPU recommended. I'm looking for the storage. Disk space, it requires 10 GB of disk space. Now, why is this important? This is important in two ways. Number one, you need to know the system requirements of the software you build, okay? Because each software has its own system requirement. So if, for example, somebody asks you, I want you to build a software that will be will manage my TV, for example, from my phone. You have to know the software you're building, how much RAM will it consume, how much CPU will it need, how much storage space will it need, all those information. It's also important to understand system requirements. Secondly, when you're going to buy your laptop, you need to know, what am I going to use this laptop for? What am I going to use this laptop for? For example, if you want to use your laptop to watch movies, edit Word documents, you don't need a very powerful laptop, because as you can see here, for Microsoft Word, we only need 4 GB of RAM and 10 GB of storage, somewhere 4 GB of storage. If you want to do things like architecture, I think they use AutoCAD. These are the system requirements you need for your laptop. So when you go to buy a laptop, you request specifically one that has the system requirements that you want. Assume you want to go into video editing. I think the most common software used in video editing is Premiere Pro, Adobe Premiere Pro system requirements. So when you go to buy a laptop that you want to use to edit videos, you cannot go and buy a laptop with 4 GB of RAM, because as you can see, the software you need to edit videos requires 8 GB of RAM. Course outline. The course outline or Kili Tech is posted on Discord. So you need to know what you want to use the laptop for, so that when you go to buy, you buy a laptop that has the specification. So those are the two main reasons why understanding system requirements for each software, why it's important. I hope that is well understood. So we move on to what we call the request response cycle. Computers communicate, or human beings communicate using computers using the request response cycle. So what does that mean? Assuming you want to visit the browser, the website Soma Story. So I'll just go to my browser here and type somastories.app. I hit enter. So it takes a few minutes and there's a web page displayed in the browser. Okay. So this is very simple. If you just look at it as a user, as somebody visiting the browser, it looks very simple. You just type the website and you get the content. However, a lot has happened under the hood. So number one, what did we do? We typed Soma Stories in the browser. So we said, hey, I want the files for somastories.app. And I'll explain why we are saying I want the files. So this request will go to a special computer called a server. And remember, a server is just a computer somewhere in somebody's office that has the permission to store files and to deliver files to you. We'll look at more details in a few. And so the server will respond. It will respond and it will send you the files for somastories.app. So what does that mean? A website, in essence, is just a bunch of files. It's just like, for example, how you can have files on your computer. So for example, I have this office, whatever here. So a website can just be a bunch of files, different formats, different sizes and whatnot, inside a folder. So the server will respond to these files. And to prove that, if you go to the browser and you right click and you click inspect. I hope you know what left and right clicking is. And you click inspect, you'll get this very daunting or whatever window here. Now, what you want to do, you want to go to the network tab. You see this network tab here. You go to the network tab and then you refresh your browser. And then once you refresh your browser, you'll see a whole bunch of responses. We call them responses typed here. So if we click on this one, for example, we can see that it's a get, which is what you call an HTTP method, but don't worry about that. We can see that it's a get, and what did it get us? We go to the response tab here, and we can see there's a bunch of files that it gave us. In this case, it's just like texts and whatnot, as shown here. Okay. If we look at another file, let's look, for example, at this one right here. It also says it's a get, and if you look at the response, we have some data here that it returned. Okay, so that is the core of communication in the web, so to speak. So number one, just know, whenever you visit a browser, whenever you visit a website like tiktok.com or youtube.com, what you're basically saying is you're asking a server, hey, I want the files for somastories.app or youtube.com. And then the server will respond with the files for that website. Now, this response thing that I'm talking about, it's not always like, one response, ask and you get whatever you want to get. It's always broken down into the type of response that you get. So if I go to the browser again, I will right click. I will go to inspect, and then here, the network tab here, and then I'll try to refresh again. So when I refresh, I see we had a couple of numbers here. So we have 200, which is get. We have, okay, this one did not work. We have 3 or 4. We have 200 and all that. We have 3 or 4 here. We do not have any other number apart from 200 and 300. Okay. Now, assuming we want to try and get files that do not exist in that website. So for example, I will just clear here. To clear, you can just click this delete icon, and then now it's empty. So at the top here, I will come to the end, and then I will say Moses Mbadi. Okay, and I will hit enter. Now, once you hit enter, of course, we have a couple of 200s here. Let's just scroll up. But at the top here, we see we have a 404. Okay. And if you look at the browser, it also shows you it's a 404. Let's try this with another browser. Let's assume we go to, let's say, for example, a government website, eCitizen. We go to eCitizen, and then we right click, we go to inspect, and then we go to network. Then we delete because we want to start afresh. So at the top here, we have EN. I will add Moses Mbadi. Okay. And then I will hit enter. So once you hit enter, of course, you get a few 204, a few 200s, but you also get a 404 here, which is also replicated here. And this is what I was talking about yesterday when I said, you start with confusion, and then you identify patterns. So here we've identified patterns. So if we want to access something that is not there, we get a 404, or we get an error starting with 400. This happens to almost pretty much all websites. So if I go to another website, let's say I go to tiktok.com, and then we are taken to explore. So I will right click, I will say inspect, and then I will go to network here, and then I will delete everything so that we start afresh. And then right here, instead of explore, I want to change this to something like Kenyan Moses Mbadio, just some gibberish. And then I hit enter. So once you hit enter, the very first command here, okay, so we did get a 404. It's not displayed here, but you can just scroll through and look for it. Where is it? Okay, I think TikTok displays it differently because it's hidden in the first command here. But as you can see, the website displayed a 404 saying, hey, whatever you're looking for, we do not have these files. The same thing happens with this. It throws a 404. The same thing happens to this. So whatever response you get, as you can see, the website developers, some are creative like TikTok, they put an emoji here. Some they just want to pass the message, so they showed you page not found 404. So whatever you ask for, whenever you ask for something, you always get different classes of responses. So number one is anything that starts with a 2 or 20 and then x. So x here can be a 0 as well. It can be a 2, it can be a 4, it can be any number, but it can be a 200. So whenever you get 200, it means, hey, whatever files you're asking for, we have those files, here they are. Okay, when you get a 300, it means these are the files that you wanted, but we don't want to give you these files, we want to give you these files instead. So we call this redirect, so it will redirect you. If you get anything that starts with 400, it means, hey, there is something wrong with your request. For example, whatever you're asking for cannot be found here, so look for it somewhere else. If you get a 500, we've not really looked at 500 in our example, but a 500 means there's something wrong with our server. Your request is okay, but the server cannot handle your request, or something just weird happened to the server. So this is what you call the request response cycle. So right now, I've of course explained a lot, which can be very confusing, but just understand this. Whenever you go to the browser and you type a website, facebook.com or whatever, what you're doing is you're making a request to the server. The server will look at what a server is in a second, and then the server will respond. So the server can respond with a 200 saying, yes, your request is successful. Here are the files. It can respond with a number starting with 300, which basically means like, you wanted this, but we don't have that. We will give you this instead. It can start with a 400, which means your request is not correct, or it can start with a 500, which means the server has an issue processing your request. I hope that is well understood. Bozizi, can somebody please share the Discord link for Bozizi on the chat? Wekesa W, 64-bit and 32-bit. Think of 64-bit and 32-bit as just the memory, the CPU power capacity of the processor that you're using. So 32-bit is a little bit old. It's what we were using in the 90s and whatnot. And then we came up with 64-bit, which is a little bit modern, and it's what is common in most computers nowadays. So 64-bit and 32-bit, they're just types of the processor, of the CPU. All right. So I'll take a coffee break. If you have any questions, you can just shoot them in the chat. All right, so we proceed. We've looked at the request response cycle. How can I access this live in Discord? This live is on YouTube, it's not on Discord, so you can access it here. All right. So that is the request response cycle. And then we now zoom out and look at everything on a larger scale. So we did look at this yesterday, but again, it's very important to look at it and try to understand what it means. So we've mentioned a server, and you might be asking yourself, okay, so what is a server? So the difference between a server and your normal computer. So your computer right now at home, you have a folder, for example, inside written family photos. So those family photos cannot be accessed by anybody else. Okay. So if I, for example, if you're in an office and you have that laptop and it has family photos, if I come to the same office with my laptop, I cannot access those photos on your laptop. That is the essence of having a personal computer or a personal laptop. Now, that is different from a server. A server is just like a normal computer, but it has special software that allows the server to share files with other computers. Okay. If we just go to Google and type server, as you can see, there are, these ugly looking metal pieces. I'm looking for something that looks more close to, yeah, like this one right here. This is what you call a server. So it's a computer with an operating system, but it has special software which allows you to access files on that server. Now, remember we said that whenever we access a website, we are basically accessing the files for that website, okay? We are accessing the files for that website. Okay, so that means these files are stored somewhere up in the cloud, and I'll show you in a second. So let's look at this website called somastories.app. So I'll just go to the home page. Okay, as you can see, it's just it has a bunch of stories here and a few other things. And believe it or not, these are all just files stored somewhere in the cloud. Now, on the network or in the cloud, each computer is identified by a unique number. We call that number an IP address. I'm pretty much you've ever heard of IP addresses somewhere. So each computer has a unique IP address assigned to it. So for example, if we come to our computer right here, as you can see under the network tab, this thing right here, you can right click on it, and then you click open network and internet settings. And then you'll go to properties. And then right here, as you can see, it has an IP address. So this is what identifies the computer on that, on that Wi-Fi that I'm using. I'm using Wi-Fi here. So this is the unique number that identifies a computer. So just think of an IP address as that. So whenever we access files from a server, we're basically telling that server, and when we tell that server, we tell it using its IP address. So we tell it, hey, I want the files for somastories.app, and then it gives you those files, hence the request response cycle. We'll dive deeper into that in a second. So whenever you access a website, for example, this person is in Nigeria, they have a laptop. The laptop has Chrome browser, VLC, TikTok, Need for Speed game. So they are connected to the internet using their home router. Okay, some say router. So some say router. So they are connected to the router in their home. So they talk to the router saying, hey, I want the files for somastories.app. So what the router will do, it will communicate with the internet service provider, whoever is providing the internet for you. For some people, it's Safaricom. For some people, it's Airtel. So the router will communicate with the internet service provider. The internet service provider will go to the internet, to the server, and get you the files for somastorage.app. And then you get those files sent back to you so you can access the website. Okay. The same happens to somebody in, for example, Kenya. So in Kenya, buddy's laptop, I have YouTube, I have TikTok, and then I say, hey, I want the files for somastorage.app, what we've just done right here. And then my computer will talk to my router, and then my router will send that request using my internet service provider, which is maybe, let's say, Safaricom. And then Safaricom will get the website files for me. So the thing here is it's very confusing to put all the pieces together. Right now, you have been introduced, you are in the confusion stage. Now, what you need to do is identify patterns, and pattern recognition is the best way to mastery of any topic. So you will want to come to this video, watch this part again, understand the request response cycle, and then understand what files are, what, all the response numbers are, and then from there you'll master the topic. Having issues verifying my email. Did you get the email Discord sent? You can just check in that email. There's a code. If you didn't receive an email, I think you can use your phone number to verify. All right. So we will look at the cloud in more details later, but for now, I just wanted you to understand the request response cycle. Okay. So don't worry about the software engineering part yet. Right now, your only job is to learn how to give a computer clear instructions. A computer is extremely literal. It does exactly what you tell it. If you tell a computer, hey, shut down, it will shut down. If you tell it print this, it will print that. So this module is about learning how to think like a programmer. Before we dive any further, we need to understand what exactly is software. And I've explained that software comes in, very many forms and shapes. We have TikTok, WhatsApp, we have Discord. You even have the software running in your microwave or your fridge. Those are all pieces of software. Even the one running inside your smartphone, they're all pieces of software. So the first things we need to do is we need to learn how to convert our laptop into a software engineering workstation. So up to this point, maybe you use your laptop to watch movies. You use your laptop to maybe play games and whatnot, but you don't use it to develop software. So we are going to learn how to convert our laptop into a software engineering workstation. So we're going to install a few pieces of software, and I think I'll try to go a little bit slower so that everybody can follow through. So if you're using a laptop, I need you to go to your browser and type VS Code. Okay, so once you type VS Code, you're going to click on this very first link here. And then you're going, if you're on Windows, it will pick Windows here. If you're on any other operating system, it will show you the version that is compatible with your operating system. So in the VS Code website, you'll see this button here. You'll see this button here called download for Windows. So you're going to click on it and it will download something. I think I have already downloaded, so I'll not download again, but it will download something that looks like this. Okay, so that will take a few minutes to download. While it's downloading, you're going to open another tab right here. Just click on the plus icon, and then we are going to install another software called Sublime Text. So you just say Sublime Text, and you click on the very first link that you see, Sublime Text. So you click on that link, and then at the top here, you'll see download for Windows. So you'll click that download for Windows, and it will show you it's downloading the software. So I want you to download those two pieces of software, and then we can continue with the class. So I've shared the link you need to click. If you have problems finding the first link, you can just click on the link I've shared in the chats. Aha, Selassie Emperor. I think you can just follow the course through, and then later when you have a laptop, you can just come back to the course and download the software. Yeah, Sublime Text and VS Code are almost the same, but we need them both to explain something as we continue. So for those who are confused, I will repeat again. You'll go to your browser. Let me just close all my tabs here. So in your browser, you're going to type VS Code, and hit enter. So you'll click on the very first link up here. And then when you click on the link, it will direct you to this interface. So inside this interface, you're going to click download for Windows. If you're using any other operating system, you'll see download for that operating system. So just click download. Open another tab. Now inside the other tab, you're going to type Sublime Text. And then you'll click the very first link, Sublime Text Editing Done Right. Click on that link. And then you'll click on the download button. Okay, once you click on the download button, it will start downloading. In some other operating systems, it will ask you to save. So once you click download for Windows, you can just click on save, and then it saves on your computer. All right, so once you install those two pieces of software, you'll go to your downloads folder. You can just click on this arrow here and then go to downloads. But if you can't access that, you can just go to this PC and then under downloads, you'll get these files. I think I downloaded these twice. I just delete one. You'll get the files that you downloaded. Let me just do some organization here. Let's move storage size to, okay. So you'll get VS Code, the one that we installed, and then you'll get Sublime Text. So I have a few other things I downloaded, but just focus on Sublime Text and Visual Studio Code, which is also known as VS Code. So we are going to install this. We'll accept agreement. We'll say next. We'll click next again. We'll click next. We can leave this as they are, and then we just click next. We'll click install here. Let me just mute this. Oh, the second one was Sublime Text, Kevin. All right, so we'll say finish. And then we go to the second one, which is Sublime Text. We'll double click on it. And then we say yes. and then we say next. We can leave that blank. We say next, and then we say install. We'll say finish. All right, so let's have a look at the two pieces of software that we've installed. Now, remember, I said software engineering is all about taking problems, breaking those problems down into smaller problems, and then solving those problems. Now, how we solve problems is we write instructions. When somebody said, I'm coding or I'm writing code, they are basically writing instructions for the computer to solve problems. I think if you have 8 GB of RAM, will do well. If you have, I think, or i3 and above, you'll also be able to download the software. Sam Delta, thanks for the heads up. So these instructions that we give to the computer, we need a way to package our instructions, okay? So right now, we can use the inbuilt text editor. Every computer comes with a text editor, which is inbuilt. Remember yesterday when we looked at the two pieces of text, one was very easy to understand, and I said that was what we call natural language. And the other one was a little bit complex, and that is what we call a programming language. So if I come to the text document we created here, or we can just create another one, I'll say new, and then I'll say text document, and then I'll say instructions.txt, and then I will open this. Of course, it's with notepad. So here I can type my instructions. Okay, I can say, so what do we really want to do? For example, we want to write a program that adds two numbers. So the first step of solving any problem is always to break it down into steps that you can easily understand. So number one, what do we need when we want to add two numbers? Number one, we need number one, or we need the first number. We need the second number. Let me just zoom in here. And then we need the mathematical symbol that will that will indicate addition. So we can say math symbol. Okay, and then we need the results. Okay, so these are basically the smaller problems that we've broken down, add two numbers into. Okay, so the main problem here was add two numbers, and we broke it down to get the first number. As a matter of fact, here should be get the first number, get the second number, and then we have the math symbol, and then we have the results. Okay, so we can do this and save it, okay, inside our instructions.txt. Okay, but now after writing the instructions, after breaking down our problems like that, our computer does not, still this is in natural language. If you remember from yesterday's class, this is in natural language. The computer does not understand, okay, so what does this really mean? And we have no way of running this instruction. As you can see, we've just typed the instructions in natural language. Now this is where programming language comes in. So depending on whatever programming language you're using, there are several things that are very common in each language, and they can be broken down into these things. So number one, in any programming language, you have to store data. Okay. Number two, you have to manipulate data. And number three, you have to present data. Okay, so those are the three main like steps that are involved in any programming language, in any software, in anything you do. If you take, for example, withdrawing money from your bank account, okay, your bank account has data stored, which is your amount. So here we can say we have balance amount, okay, in your bank app, which is, for example, let's say $200. By the way, if you do like the content I'm putting up here and you like to buy me a cup of coffee, feel free to make a donation. I have the donation links in the description. Let me just confirm that. Yeah, I have the donation links in the description. So yeah, my wife says I'm taking you guys way too fast. Am I too fast? Okay. So so let me try to slow down a little bit. We have about an hour, so let me try to slow down. So we are looking at, oh, Kevin, I'm sorry. I'll try to be a little bit slower. Um, so let's look at a bank. Let's look at your banking application. Kevin, I'll reduce it to 100, okay? To 100. uh, so let's say we have a banking application. Your balance amount is $200, okay? And you want to withdraw $50. So down here we'll say withdraw $50. So after withdrawing $50, the bank is supposed to show you the amount that is remaining. So we can say now available balance is $150. Okay. So these are the steps involved. Memphis, atasalamika. So these are the steps involved when you go to your bank app and withdraw money. Oh, Mwikali Irene. So actually, if you're on this course, we made two agreements when we started. Number one, we will not give up on each other. That is why in the Discord, everybody was saying, I will not give up on you. So, Mwikali Irene, I will not give up on you. Number two, we said nobody is going to be left behind. So during the class, if I am too fast, if I explain something that you do not get, kindly note that down. Okay. I'm assuming in this session you have a notebook or a sticky note. Okay. So if I explain something that you do not understand, kindly note it down. Like here, I'm trying to note a few things down. Note it down. Then in the Discord server, we have the help channel. In the help channel, you're going to text exactly where you got lost, and then a member of the group will try to assist you and get you unstuck. Okay. I hope that is well understood. So we are not giving up on each other, and we are also not leaving anybody behind. So kindly note down the things that are confusing that you don't understand. And then in the help channel, you can text whatever issue there. There is also the office hours, which I shared on Discord. Our office hours, especially for today, will be from I think 2 p.m. To 11 p.m. Office hours is for those who got stuck during the main session. So you can come to office hours, and then we can have a slower, maybe sort of walkthrough of what we did. Mukali, are we together? All right. All right, so somebody is asking, what about when there is a transaction fee? So, so we get the balance amount, and then we want to withdraw $50. Now, there's also the element of transaction fee. So we have the transaction fee, which is, let's say, for example, $1. Okay, so once we initiate the transaction and we are done transacting, the balance will not be 150; it will be 149. Because you withdrew the $50, and you also incurred an additional $1 for transactional fee. So you get available balance is $149. Okay. Now, as you can see, just looking at this process right here, we have the data that was stored. The bank had your money stored somewhere as your balance. Okay. And then we manipulated the data that was stored. So from the $200, we subtracted 50, which you withdrew. And then we have the transaction fee, which is $1. And then we remained with $149. So here we have store data. And then here we have manipulate data, which also happens with the transaction fee right here. And then here we present data. We present the balance that you have, okay? So just keep that in mind. The entire concept of software engineering is we store data, we manipulate data, and then we present data. Now, when you are writing a piece of code, we do not write it this way. This is what we call natural language. So the computers do not understand natural language. So we need to understand what does it mean to store data? What does it mean to manipulate data in the computer world? Okay, so I'm just trying to go through. Okay, so in the coding world, we store data using several data storage media. So let's just call them that for now. So one of them is what we call a variable. Okay, and you've had variables. Buddy, the invite link for Discord seems to be invalid. Kindly check on it. Evans. All right. If somebody has the Discord invite link, please post it for Omondi. All right. So we store data using what we call variables. So we can just call them in plural, variables. We store data inside what we call lists. We store data inside what we call dictionaries. We store data inside what we call the term is whatever. So let's just look at variables, lists, and dictionaries. Then how do we manipulate data? We manipulate data using the mathematical symbols. We use maths, so we'll just say maths. We also manipulate data using string manipulation. And they will explain what string manipulation is. So how do we present data? We can present data using print or return statements, okay? And I'll explain what all these are in a second. So looking at our bank app, how can we represent this in a programming language, okay? Number one, how do we store data? We've said we can store data in variables, we can store data in lists, and we can store data in dictionaries. Now, dictionaries is just the same as a normal dictionary, which is a key and a value. For example, you might have a name and an explanation of that name. A list is basically like a list, a list of foods, a list of, books or courses. And then we have variables. Variables are used to store only one type of data at a time, and it's only one data. So for example, let's look at how we can represent the balance amount. So we can say we have a variable, and the name is balance, and then we'll say that balance is $200. Okay, and then we have what else? We have the withdraw, which is manipulate data. So manipulate data, how can we represent this in a programming language? So we can say, so these steps right here, they can be combined into one. Instead of representing them separately, we can combine them into one. So here we can say balance after withdrawal equals to, then we want to capture the amount being withdrawn. So we can say withdraw, the balance after withdrawal equals to, now the available balance right here, we'll say equals to balance minus the amount being withdrawn, and then minus the transaction fee, which is right here. We say minus the transaction fee. Okay. So yeah, it's a little bit lengthy, but I hope you're following. So let me just repeat what we've done here. Yeah, we look at the purpose of Sublime Text in a second. So we have the balance amount in your bank. If you open right now, you see we have this amount, $200. So we've stored that data. Okay, you want to withdraw $50. So we have the amount you want to withdraw, and then we have the transaction fee that will be incurred after that withdrawal. And then we have the available balance. The available balance is what you get after you've subtracted the amount you had minus what you've withdrawn minus what the bank has kept. And that is what I've represented here. So we've said a variable can store your amount, the amount that you have, and then we have the balance after withdrawal, which is the amount that you have minus what you're withdrawing minus the transaction fee. And actually, if you understand up to this point, you're a software engineer. That is all. The rest, AI can write the code. Okay, we'll dive deeper into that in a second. So I do hope that is well understood. Yeah. So number one, we've installed VS Code and we've installed Sublime Text. Okay. Now, what is the purpose of these two software? These two software, they are like whatever we are using to write our code whatever you're using to write our instructions right here, but they are specialized for writing code. Okay. So for example, if we open whatever we've installed, VS Code. So I'll just go here and then I'll open VS Code. So I want you to pay attention to the difference between typing on your notepad and typing inside VS Code. So inside VS Code, we'll just next section, blah, 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 Markdown. Yeah, if you get this screen, you can just click next section until you're done. You'll customize it later. Then Markdown, Markdown. Okay, so it will lead you into this screen. Now, inside this screen, we are going to say new file, and then we'll just say it's a text file. Now, from the very word, from the first time you install it, as you can see, it's saying generate code, blah, blah, select language, blah, 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 all these things. And it can be very daunting to look around and, understand what the editor does. Let me just zoom in. But right here is where you can close this. It's not needed. Right here is this displays the type or the specific file you're editing, okay? And then right here, we have options, and we look at all these options as we proceed. And then right here, you have your built-in AI agent. So AI agent helps you write the code. However, I'll explain why we also need to understand whatever AI is writing. And then there are a few more options down here, but you can just ignore them for now. We do not need them. But what is important is if you start writing inside VS Code, if you write, for example, something like variable, and then you say name, don't worry about what I'm typing. I'm just trying to show something. So VS Code can help you highlight syntax for the specific language that you're using. So right now, I'm just using text, like a text document or text, which is natural language that you and I understand. So there's really nothing much going on. Like it's not highlighting that, hey, this is wrong or this is what. And the file type here is also just saying untitled, okay? But assuming we want to work with a particular programming language, let's say, for example, we want to work with JavaScript, okay? Or let's say we want to work with Python. Python is easier. So right here, we'll go to this, we'll go to this right here, and then you'll say file, and then you'll say new file, okay? Under new file, you'll say you want to write a Python file, and this Python file will be bank, and then we end it with .py, and then we hit enter. Okay, it will ask us where do you want to save it. So let's just save it in the desktop, and then you'll say create file. All right, so we've created one file called bank.py. Now, remember yesterday when you were talking about extension, we said the extension of a file helps you identify what that file is. So if you come to your desktop, for example, if you come to your desktop, we can see we have different files. This one ends with a .txt, which is a text document. This one ends with a .py, which means it's a Python file. Python is a programming language. So right here, we can type something in Python. Let's say, for example, balance. Balance equals to 200. As you can see, this color has changed. I don't know if you've noticed, this color has changed. So this is what you call syntax highlighting, and that is why we use VS Code to type our instructions instead of using a text document. We will dive deeper into all this, so if it's confusing right now, don't worry, we will explain deeper. Muyunzo, yeah, try to keep up. If you know, I said write some notes if you get stuck, and you'll get back to that later. So we now understand that when we say we are coding, we are basically taking instructions and giving it to the computer. But the computer does not understand our instructions. That is where we have a compiler or an interpreter. So the levels of I'm trying to look for my. So once you're done typing your instructions, once you're done typing your instructions, we give these instructions to what you call a compiler or an interpreter. Then this interpreter will convert this language to what you call machine language. Okay. Now, from a very first video I made here, I explained. Excuse me. I did explain that computers are electronic components. So that means computers do not understand the language that we use. Computers only understand 1 and 0, on and off. Is electricity flowing? Is electricity not flowing? Whether you believe it or not, inside the CPU, what the CPU does is just it opens very tiny what you call gates to allow electricity to flow or electricity to not flow. So when you say, for example, when you go to your calculator right now, or when you type a message on WhatsApp and hit send, your processor on that phone will allow electricity to flow over 1,000,000 times, representing ones and zeros. So all those ones and zeros you see in movies, in Matrix, that is where the concept comes from. So just know, computers do not understand ones and zeros. Computers only understand electricity. Is electricity flowing? Is electricity not flowing? And that is what we call machine language. So machine language can only be represented as ones and zeros. So right here we have 10010001100. This is the language a computer understands, okay? But human beings do not speak in this language. For example, if I go to the browser right now and I try to translate, do I have Gemini here? So let me just open Gemini. We will look at Gemini later as we proceed, but for now, just follow through. So if we ask Gemini, translate Uganda to machine language. Okay. Okay. So this is what a representation of Uganda is in machine language right here. As you can see, possibly a human being cannot start telling you 0101001001 to tell you Uganda. By the time they're done saying I'm from Uganda, they've spent probably 10 hours explaining I'm from Uganda. So we do not use machine language, but computers use machine language, okay? So what we do is we type our instructions into a language that is common to natural language. So for example, I've said when you want to represent balance, we put it inside a variable and we use print and return to present data to the user. So here, assuming we want to say print print, my goodness, why can't I type? Want to say print balance. Oh, okay, there was this. So assuming you want to say print balance, the computer will take whatever it is we've typed here. It will give those instructions to the compiler, and then mm, the compiler will convert whatever we've typed here into machine language, which is also known as binary, and then give it to the computer. The computer will process the instructions and then it gives you the output. It gives the output to the user. Okay. So one piece is missing here. We have installed whatever platform we'll use to type our instructions. So this is where we will be typing our instructions, okay? But one thing is missing, the compiler or interpreter. So we want to use Python in this course to just explain in brief. And for us to use Python, for the computer to understand the Python language and take our instructions and convert it into machine language, we need to install the Python interpreter. So in your browser, this is the third software we are installing. We are going to install Python. So you just type Python, and then you'll click the very first link up here. And then you'll go to downloads, and then we'll click on you can click on these or you can click on this, but this one is way faster, so you'll just click on this. Yeah, of course it takes a second depending on your internet speed, but I had already installed it earlier, so I'll just go to my downloads and install it. So I'll go to my downloads and find the Python. Here it is, and then I'll just double click on it to install it. Ooh, okay, I downloaded the wrong thing, so you'll just have to download it again. So you'll just go to the download and restart it. Is that water? Come, come. Okay. Okay. Thank you. All right. So we have installed the. By the way, if you're getting lost in this class, there's only three takeaways. Number one is the request response cycle. That is all you need to understand from the very first part of this class. Number two is what software you need to install. So number one, you've said you need to install the VS Code. You need to install Sublime Text, and we are installing the third one, which is Python. So if you're looking for the Python link, I've shared it in the chat. I've shared the Python link in the chat. You can just click it, click download, and then you click download Python manager or something. So download is right here. If you just hover here, you'll see downloads, and then you can go to Python 3.143, or you can install this install manager. That please be kind to yourself. If you're not getting anything, it's okay. When I was starting how to code, I actually gave up 4 times. I started the first time, got confused, got lost. I started the second time, got confused, I left, I gave up. I gave up 4 times, and then the fifth time is when I just decided, whatever it takes, we are all in, and I went through with it. Now, of course, I gave up 4 times because I did not have a guide. I did not have a mentor. Like I shared with you guys yesterday, I was working in a movie shop. I did not know anything about software engineering. I didn't even know if there's any software engineer out there I can reach out to for help or anything. So that made my learning very difficult. And that is what I'm trying to solve here. So if you get confused, as a matter of fact, if this entire session has been a whole giant, it has been confusion, it's okay. You're actually on the right track. You're right where you're supposed to be. So just capture whatever you can capture. Just whatever you can note down, just note down. Whatever you can understand, just understand. But if something is very confusing, don't beat yourself over it. Just write it down We will discuss about it in the office hours. But for now, like I've said, three things you should understand. Number one is the request response cycle. Number two is the tools we need to package our to put our okay, the tools we need to type our instructions. So number one, we've downloaded VS Code. Number two, we've downloaded Sublime Text. And number three, we are now downloading the Python interpreter. And as we get into more hands-on, you'll understand what the Python interpreter is. But for now, just download it, okay? So if you're confused, Irene, where did you go? Muyunzu, I see you're here. Kevin Viceroy Tesh. Sam Delta, I see you on track very well. Titus Rono, done very well. So if you're confused, don't judge yourself, don't beat yourself. You are right where you're supposed to be. All right, so we've downloaded Sublime Text, we've downloaded VS Code, and now we've downloaded the Python interpreter. Okay, and we've said interpreter is what is responsible for taking our instructions written in natural language and translating those instructions into ones and zeros for the computer. I've also said that the computer does not understand if, for example, type a you type your name in a text document. The computer does not understand what that name is. The computer only understands ones and zeros. So the computer needs a way to take your name and translate it into ones and zeros. The tool used is what we call an interpreter, which is what we've downloaded here. So you'll go to your downloads folder, and then inside your downloads folder, we should have the Python interpreter installed, which is right here. So you'll double click on it. So once you double click on it, you can just click these two check boxes here, and then you'll say install now. And then you say install. Yes, Irene, just stay there. We sema tu huko tu, but don't give up. Stay in there. So you'll click on disable length, and then you'll say yes. And then we'll say close. So we've installed our code editor, which is the tool we'll use to type our instructions, VS Code and Sublime Text. And we've installed the Python interpreter. Chebet, I think you just use the interpreter itself. Don't use the manager. I think it's a new feature. They've just rolled it out recently, and I don't know much about it. If you want to install the interpreter directly, I've sent you a link. If you're on Windows, just use that link. It will install the interpreter directly on your computer. All right. So there's one more thing we need to look at before we end the session, and that is what we call the terminal or the command prompt. Kendrick, I'm not sure why you're getting that error. You can just paste it in the help channel, and then we'll get back at it. So let's try to create our banking application. Let's try to create our banking application and see how it works. So the next chapter is to look at what we call the command prompt. Now, if you're on Windows, if you click down here and then you type CMD, you'll see this thing called command prompt. Okay. For some users, I think you can see terminal. Let me see if I have terminal. I don't have terminal, but I have command prompt if you're on Windows. So you can just click on it. Now, as a software engineer, it's very important you find the terminal. you make the terminal or the command prompt your home, okay? So just know whenever I say terminal, I'm talking about this thing here called CMD. So if you type CMD, you can get this command prompt right here, okay? So it's important you make this your home. You understand how to navigate, how to access files, how to do all sorts of things inside here, okay? So Odhiambo, you posted a command, but I think YouTube retracted it. However, the command is for Ubuntu. I think most of the students here are using Windows. So if you can find one for Windows, that would be super helpful. Tebet, I think you can just proceed. If you see that option to proceed, you can just proceed. Kua, yes, disable path length limit. We look at what that is as you continue. Mercy Jemuge, I see you on track very well. Kevin Carls, you got the wrong one. Which one did you install? Oh, you're using Linux. Very well. I'm also using Linux, but I'm teaching using Windows because most people are using Windows. So if you're using Linux, please come to the office hours. We'll have a look at how to do it in Linux. Oh, Viambo, you're using Linux. Very good. Somebody is asking what Discord is. Can somebody please explain what Discord is? Noreen, somebody will share the Discord link. So now, what is the terminal? Normally, if you want to operate your computer, as a normal user, right now, guys, we are software engineers. We are not normal users. So we have to do our shit differently, okay? We have to prove. So a normal user, let's say you want to create a directory. A normal user will come here. They will say new. They will say folder. And then they will say, let's give it a name, my folder, okay? If they want to create a text document inside, they will come here and they will say new, and then they will say text document, and then they will say my text document. And then they will hit enter, and then they will close. And then that's it. But what is the fun in that? We are software engineers. We do our shit differently, okay? So we are going to do the same thing, but you're going to use the terminal, okay? And every command you type in the terminal, you don't have to have it here. As a matter of fact, I don't have all the commands in my mind. So I'm going to ask Gemini to give me the commands, okay? So here I have my terminal and I'm inside this directory. This is what shows you where you are, okay? So if we do something like dir, it shows us the contents of the directory we are in, okay? Again, I don't want anybody to be left behind. This command session is easy, so please follow along. Sudo apt install Python. Yeah, that will work if you are using a newer version of Ubuntu. So this session for command prompt, I don't want anybody to be left behind, okay? So let's move together. I will repeat again. If you're on Windows, I think I can even I'm not sharing my Linux screen, so that will be, okay. So we'll use Windows for now. We'll have a look at Linux later, okay? So let me just clear my screen. So I've said we want to try and create a folder using the command prompt, okay? Not using the normal method normal users use. We are not normal users. So right here, let me just close mine. Right here, you're going to type CMD, okay? Once you type CMD, you hit command prompt right at the top here. And then you have this window here. So you're going to expand it like so. And mine, I'm just zooming in. So once you do that, it will show you this thing, okay? So if, for example, it's your own personal computer, you'll have your name here. You'll have your name here, okay? So that is okay. So what are some of the commands we can do? Number one, we can see right here where we are, what are the files inside this directory. So to do that, we can type the command dir, and then we hit enter. So once we hit enter, we are seeing the directory of C users Moses Mbadi, and we have .vs code, we have 3D objects, we have contacts, we have desktop, we have all this bunch of files, okay? And we can even access this directory here inside the file manager. So we will go to this PC, okay, it's not down here, but I will go to this PC right here. I will go to C, local disk C, I will go to users, and then I will go to Mbadi. As you can see, this is the same thing the terminal was showing us here. Where did it go? This is the same thing the terminal is showing us here and right here, okay? And as we can confirm, we have pictures, music, links, favorites, downloads. We have all of them inside our directory, users, Mbadi. These are the things we have, okay? Now, inside here, we want to create a directory, okay? And to create a directory, we are not going to just get the command of our minds. We're going to ask Gemini. So you're going to go to Gemini and ask how to create a directory in CMD. And the reason why I have to Google such things is so that you understand the flow, so that you understand, how to ask questions when you get stuck. Okay, so the command basic to create a directory is mkdir and then the folder name. Okay, so right here, as you can see, there is nothing here written 8 hours challenge. Okay, we want to create a directory called 8 hours challenge. So here I will say mkdir, which is make directory, and then we'll say 8 hours challenge, and then we'll hit enter. So once we hit enter, our terminal is cluttered right now. We don't want to see all this. We want to have a clean terminal. So we'll say CLS, which means clear screen. So CLS will clear everything in the screen, on the screen, sorry. So we'll hit enter, and then as you can see, our screen is now clean. So we want to confirm, did the folder we created a folder, is it present where we want it to be present? So we'll say dir, which shows the contents of the directory. And as you can see, we have the 8 hours challenge created here. And it even tells you when it was created. So it was created today at 10:41 a.m. and it's 10:42 a.m. Okay, so this is the directory we created. But how can we create a file? Because remember, we said normal users will go to desktop, they'll right click, they'll say new, blah 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 blah, which is not fun. So how do we do the same using CMD? So again, if you do not know the command, some delta, sorry, uh, yeah, Kevin, this video will be on YouTube. So if you do not know the command to create something, you can just go to Gemini or ChatGPT and ask it how to create a file in CMD. And then it will give you a file. So the quickest way is to use type null and then you say file text, file.txt, or you can say echo blah 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 blah. So let's use this one because I'm more used to this one. Okay, so we want to create the file called class1.txt, and then we want to put something we've learned in class 1. So we'll say echo, and then we say cmd, no, it's echo cmd, and then we want to put it inside 8 hours dot txt. Yeah, we will get there, Okili. Be patient. So echo cmd 8 hours dot txt. Okay, so let's again see what the contents of our directory are. So we'll do cls, which is clear the screen. So once we clear the screen, we can do dir to list the contents of our directory. Oh, the flow is fast, don't worry. So once we do that, we can see we have a file here called 8 hours.txt. It was created here, 8 hours.txt. So this is what you call the terminal. Number one, you can just try and learn how to use the terminal or the command prompt to navigate and to perform actions on your computer. Yeah, so before we end the class, Bonnie X, could you type in the chats what was most confusing? Also, Irene, now is your time to type in the chats if you found anything confusing. All right. Yeah, I think that will be it for this class. I will have let me just confirm. So I will have office hours at oh, we did not have any office hours on Saturday, but I will have office. I'll make an exception for today. I will have office hours from 3 p.m. to maybe 6 or 5 p.m. So if you are on this session and you got stuck, you got confused, please come to the office hours and I will go through some of the things that were confusing. Also, if you do like the content I put up here, you can buy me a coffee using the channels provided in the channel description. So if you make a donation of more than $50, that will give you a priority for the office hours, so that during the office hours, I will have maybe 2 or 3 of you, and then we can go through everything that you are stuck on. Just remember, if you make a donation of $50 and above, that will give you a priority. Not $50, $20. Sorry. If you make a donation of $20 and above, that will give you a priority in the office hours, which will be from 3 p.m. To 6 p.m. Like I said, we do not want anybody to get stuck. We do not want anybody left behind. So if you do not understand anything, come to the office hours on Discord and we'll go through everything again. Okay. I think that's it for this one. If you have any questions, you can just type them in the Discord, and me or somebody else who has understood everything better will help you with the questions. Discord is our command center, is where all the communication happens. James, the Discord group already exists. You just have to click the link and access it. So let me share the link here again. So I've shared the Discord link in the chats. Please install Discord first, and then you can click that link. I don't know if the comments will be there if I end the stream, but I'll put the Discord link in the channel description, in the live stream description for you guys. All right, I think that's it for this one. I'll see you guys on Discord and during the office hours. Thank you.